Parasha, it says, Vayishma Yisro. It's interesting. The first word in the Parasha dealing with the accepting of the Torah, the first word is Vayishma. It means that people are busy expressing themselves, coming out of themselves. The Torah, you need the power to listen. Vayishma. It's not coincidental that the Parsha dealing with the receiving of the Torah begins with the word Vayishma. What was the power of Yisro? That Yisro was merited, everything that he merited, to become part of Klal Yisrael and everything, because Vayishma, he had a good listening ear. He heard well. Let's see, what did he hear well? He listened. You know, not only people talk, events talk, but whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does in the world is talking, is giving a message, but one has to open one's ears to hear the message. And so Chasei Chazal, Vayishma Yisro, Ma Shmua Shoma, what did he hear? Ma Shmua Shoma Ubo, Milchemes Amalek Ukriyas Yamsuf, Ukriyas Yamsuf Milchemes Amalek. The order is the other way around. Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, and the battle with Amalek. So some say pshat like this. There are two pshatim that are very similar. The question is, Ma Shmua Shama Ubo, what made Yisro come? In the Shirat Hayam, the song on the Sayam Suf, it says like this: Shamu Amim Yogozum. When the sea split, Shamu Amim Yogozum Chil Ochaz Yoshve Ploshas. All the nations heard about it, and they shivered. So Yitro was also one of them that heard this. He was between the Amim. He also heard about it. As well, not only did all the nations hear about it, Amalek also heard about it. And Amalek came also, and Amalek didn't only hear about it, they made an act, but their act was the opposite of the Yegozim. They said, we're going to be afraid of these Jews. It says, the Rashis, it says, Amalek, what was Am Yisrael similar to when they came out of Egypt? It was similar to a hot spring of water, boiling water. And everybody's afraid to enter the spring. Somebody jumped in, and he got burnt. And even though he got burnt, but he made it already cooler for the others. He survived. He already became cooler. Others can enter as well. And so it says, in other words, Rashis Goyim Amalek, they jumped in, and so they opened up. They're who are the pioneers of anti-Semitism, of Sinas Yisrael? Amalek, they're pioneers. They jumped in and they to the hot spring, and they said it's possible to do something for the Jews. But Al Kol Panim, Amalek also heard and didn't make any impression on them. So Yisro understood. He heard this contradiction. He heard there can be a Kriyas Yamsuf. One can be impressed, and to some point even go the other way around. That being impressed with events, or learning a Sefer Musa and having a certain hit or root, an awakening, is not enough. Let's go on to the same idea. In the Mechemes Amalek itself, it says, V'idei Moshe Kvedim. When Moshe Rabbeinu lifted his hands, so Am Yisrael was victorious over Amalek. When Moshe's hands were tied, he put them down. The Am Yisrael didn't win over Amalek. Ask the Mishnah in the end of the Sefer Rosh Hashanah, V'chidei Moshe Oisim Uchama. Were the hands of Moshe doing the battle? What's going on? It says, Bisman when the hands of Moshe were b'mayla Am Yisrael, maybe it represented what was by Am Yisrael, or it encouraged Am Yisrael. It says, when the hands of Moshe were above, Hayu Yisrael b'shabdim libom v'aviyim shebeshamayim. They were obligating their heart to their Father in heaven. So when they were mishabed libom, when they were obligating their hearts, submerging their heart to the wishes of their Creator, to their Father in heaven, is then they were victorious in the battle. When the hands of Moshe were down, they stopped to be Meshabed Libom Lavim Shemayim, and then they would lose the battle. Now, all this happened in the same day. That means 5 minutes, Meshabed Libom. 5 minutes later, Ein Meshabed Libom. That means a person can change from 1 minute to the next. The Regoyim, so is life. The Regoyim, it says the person, Tifkedenu Levikorim L'Regoyim Tifchenenu. The Gemara says the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching the person on a daily basis and on minutes. Adam Nidoin B'chol Yoim, person is judged every day. Adam Nidoin B'chol Shah, person is judged every minute. Means that a person has to be in a state of ischaskus. So therefore, what do we learn from this? It's not enough to have a spiritual awakening. It's not enough to be moved to the truth. Ma shmua shama ubo. What shmua did Yisro hear that made him come? Yisro understood that he has to do an action. When he heard that he can be an opposite action, that after being impressed with a splitting of the sea, Mechemes Amalek, and he heard in Mechemes Amalek itself that Klal Yisrael can 1 minute be victorious and 1 minute not be victorious. He understood Shoma Ubo, that one has a hitorut, one has to do an action to and body to materialize this hitorut. This idea is hitorut, this awakening. They say a story that once one was waiting to enter by Rameh Simcha from Dvinsk, and there was a couple inside, and then he heard that Rameh Simcha made a dance. So why did he make a dance? So he said like this: the couple was there and they had difficulties in marriage, and he could have succeeded to make between them shalom bayis. So he said as soon as he succeeded to make shalom bayis, he had to do an action that this should be a kinyan, this should be an acquisition on the shalom bayis. So he made them immediately. He made a dance, a simcha that they managed to accomplish to see each other, see eye to eye between them, because the Ramban expresses this in a pasuk in Shir Hashirim. Im ta'iru es ha'ava ad shetechpots. The word techpots in Hebrew has a double meaning. Techpots means the word for wishes is called chafetz, but it has another meaning we find. If you learned it in chayfetz, what is a chayfetz? Object. So the chafetz is I guess maybe a chayfetz is called an object because every object is the expression of the chayfetz of the Ratzon of Hashem that this object should exist, perhaps. But Al Kol Panim, so the Ramban says in this pasuk, Im ta'iru sa'ava, to you awaken love, ad shetechpots. You have to make from the awakening of the love of Hashem a chayfetz. Not techpots till you wish, till you want, but till you transform and materialize the wish into a realistic, material object. So when a person wants to grow, we have a chiyuv to grow. I saw a language in the letter, one of the letters of the Chazon Ish. He says, "Ha'adam eitz hasoda." Man is compared to a tree. You know that the tree constantly gets taller and also gets wider. It grows. The kid puts on another ring every year. Doesn't mean we don't grow up. You could also grow up putting on another ring every year. That's the goof. That's not the growth of the neshama. We're talking about Adam Eitz Hasada, that the neshama has to put on another ring. How can the neshama put on a spiritual ring? He has to grow. So that has to be with maasim. That's the power of a maaseh. If a person grows in understanding of his obligation to Hashem, the way that the kli to make him grow is the actions. To add actions, to add in the effort of Torah, to add in some mitzvah, to add something. And perhaps that's also included in what it says that Am Yisrael was makdim in the receiving of the Torah, that they preceded Naaseh, we will do before we will hear. The hearing doesn't mean to hear with the oizen, the ear, it means to hear in depth, to understand. Like the Gemara says, Toh Shema, doesn't mean come and listen. Doesn't mean come and listen, come and understand. Let's understand what with this material that we're dealing with. So Nasa v'nishma means the understanding of the Torah has to be preceded by the adding and the actions, the proper action opens the heart to the understanding. You know that in psychology there's the behaviorist, the Torah stims, the Torah fits with behaviorist. That's Nasa V'Nishma. The Amaisim change a person. The person isn't changed by ideas. The person Nasa V'Nishma. For the depths of the Shmiya, one needs an Asiyah. And that's expressed in this pasuk, this shita of behaviorism. We'll use it. This is expressed in this pasuk of the Ramban in Shiashirim. Im ta'iru v'im ta'oiru es ha'ava at shetechbotz, until you make an object of it. The hisoiris will, in order that the hisoiris, the new understanding, shouldn't fly away, one has to transform it into an object. It means ma'asim. Ma'asim, actions change a person and not ideas. I am not I think, therefore I am. I do, therefore I am. I am the consummation of all my actions. That's who I am. Not my ideas. The ideas are abstract. They're beyond me. Because I have high ideas, they don't yet define me. If I can transform those ideas into actions, then they become part of me. Everything has to be grounded. That's perhaps this concept of Sula Mutzav Arsa, Roisha Magia Shemaimor. The Roisha Magia Shemaimor is only part of me when it's a Sula, when I can ground it with the Sula Mutzav Arsa. The Roisha Shemaimor itself is, if the Roisha is Magia Shemaim, but there's no Sula Mutzav Arsa, it's not part of me. It has to be connected. The Roisha Shemaim has to be transformed by a ladder on the Oretz. So that's the parsha, that's telling us what is the kinyan of Torah, Ma Shmua. One has to hear Ma Shmua Shama Yisro Ubo. What made him transform it into an action? Kriyas Yamsuf Mechemes HaMolek. He saw there can be such an unbelievable miracle of Kriyas Yamsuf, and still there can be a Mechemes HaMolek. And he learned that for himself. That means the person can be exposed to the emes, and he can rebel against the truth like a Molech rebelled against the truth. The way to prevent it is the opposite. Is to do an action which is coming out of the expression of the acquisition of the truth that he acquired. Every idea of Torah that a person acquires, new knowledge, has to be brought, if it's brought into some action, then it becomes part of the person. So that's the first message, what we learned from the first Rashi this week's parasha. Now, something about Shabbos. It's interesting. Have in the pasuk. It says of the Torah, the Seres Hadibros, Zochas Yom HaShabbos HaKadshoy, Sheishes Yom Tavoi, 6 days you should work, Vasisa Kol Malachtech, do all your work. Person complete all his work as a person ever completed with everything? What does it mean? Vasisa kol malachtech. So Rashi says, Keshebo Shabbos, here the Torah is telling us, when Shabbos comes, Yehei beinecho ki'ilu kol malachtecha asuya. It should be in your eyes as if you've finished everything. Shaloi tahare acha malacha, you shouldn't have a machshava after the malacha. So let's see. We have, that in the first Aseret that they wrote, it says Zochas Yom HaShabbos HaKadshoy. In the second Aseret that they wrote, Parshas V'Eskanon, it says Shomer Yom HaShabbos HaKadshoy. And it comes on this the Chazal, Zocha v'Shoma v'Dibu Echot Nem. Hashem said both, Zocha and Shomer. Shomer means guard yourself not to desecrate the Shabbos, not to do melacha on the Shabbos. Zocha is that you should be in a constant state of remembering the Shabbos. Now, what is that? It's brought down in Svarim that Am Yisro asked, show us what is, we want a sample of Olam Haba. Give us a sample of Olam Haba. It says to Medrash that Shabbos is a dugma, it's a sample, it's me'ain, it's echad mishishim, it's a 60th of Olam Haba. We know that Olam Haba opposite of Olam Hasa. In Olam Haba, there won't be anything of this world. So here we have this. In order to fulfill so if Shabbos, let's do this way. If Shabbos is representing, it's a sample of Olam Haba, and Olam Haba is a world. Let's do it mathematically. If Olam Haba is a world where all Olam Haza is forgotten, so that means on Shabbos we have to, and Shabbos is supposed to be like Olam Haba. That means on Shabbos we have to be in a state of forgetting Olam Haza. And that's what it says over here. Like there's the command of Shabbos, desecrating the Shabbos is not only in action. Of course, all Klashaymrei Shabbos, the first level of Shabbos is not to do something which desecrates the Shabbos in action, which, by the way, if one doesn't learn halacha, it's very simple to do without realizing or even noticing. If a person has a skin or something on him, and he scratches the skin, he uproots the skin, he's violated Shabbos even though he didn't mean to. He pulls out a hair, he's violated Shabbos. He eats a piece of fish and he pulls out the bone instead of protecting the fish off the bone, he's violated Shabbos. There's many different ways that a person without even thinking or realizing can violate the Shabbos. The first step in Shabbos is the actions. Not to do an action, muktzah is easy to violate. There's many things on Shabbos. It's very simple to violate without even thinking. But the next step of Shabbos is what has to be Shabbos and Shabbos in thought and words. The person, you know the joke, they say the joke. But some people, they speak on Shabbos, they're in business, it's hard not to speak to them, so they make a head that's better than nothing. Nit Shabbos Geret. You know what it means? Nit Shabbos Geret. Not to be spoken on Shabbos. It's not proper words for Shabbos. So they say the joke, the guy has a second-hand car to sell. He wants to get rid of a second-hand car. Where do you meet all the people that all the potential buyers in shul? Of course. So by Friday night, he meets them. He says 15,000 at Shabbos Geret. The other one tells him 12,000. The kids, and so it goes. In the morning, he meets him. There's another price. The Nit Shabbos Geret, Nit Shabbos Geret. At the end of the day, another guy approaches. What's with that car? Nit Shabbos Geret. Show him Fakoif. It's already sold. Nit Shabbos Geret. No, so that's Shabbos in Dibur. But the hardest thing is Shmira Shabbos is in Machshav. Right? What Rashi says over here. What Rashi says, Shaloi Tahara Achmat, to think about what you have to do. And on Shabbos, a person is supposed to enter a spiritual world. Ki'ilu, to forget that he has a guf. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Me'ein Olam Haba. So, like it says, Zocher, so now let's go back. Zocher v'shama v'dibu echel. What does it mean, Zocher v'shama v'dibu echel? A person with Zocher means that a Kodesh Baruch Hu reminds the person of Olam Haba, reminds him of Hashem. Every person, Shabbos is not an arbitrary thing. Every person is Zocher, is meriting a connection with Shabbos according to his personal individual avodah. Because it says when Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says the Medrash, when Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem to tell Am Yisrael about the Torah Shabbos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Matana toivo yeshli bebeis ginzai. I have this good gift in my treasure house. Go and be moidia to Klal Yisrael. Matana toivo bebeis ginzai. You know what these words remind of? Matana toivo bebeis ginzai. It reminds of one of the Rashis in the first psukim of the Torah. Ayar lekim es ha'orki toiv. Hashem, the first light, which is the light of truth. Hashem showed that this light was toiv, saw that this light was toiv. Vayavdil, says Rashi. Here we need the Medrash. Gonzoi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this or which was toiv, that it wasn't kedai for the Rishonim and Olam Hazeh. Gonzoi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He could put it in his base ginzov, gonzoi, the orki toiv, gonzoi the base ginzov, the tzaddikim lasimov. So when Shabbos says it's a matana toiva, the base ginzov, that means it's from this oyer hagonis, this oyer of truth. The Shabbos is called in the language of the Zohar, Yuma de Nishmosim, a day of the neshama. It's as if the person is not an Olam Hazeh, he's a neshama without a guf. So it means that, so that's exactly this mitzvah. Shoma, the Shmira Shabbos, V'sisa, let's go back to the pasuk. V'sisa kol malachtecha. You should behave as if all your malacha is done. That means you should forget Olam Hazard. You should forget that you're in Olam Hazard, that you have daigas of Olam Hazard. Now exists you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Ratzon Hashem. Only Ruchnius. You're in Olam Hazard. And according to the shi'ur that a person can fulfill the shmira of Shabbos in Machshava, even in Machshava, so Hashem will be mezakeh him in Zochas Yom HaShabbos. Zochas is the positive of Yom HaShabbos. And you know, it's interesting, if you take the word Zochar, I think that every time you have Zochar in the Torah, it's connected with this concept. And the Zohar brings down that the word that we have, Roz. What is Roz? You know what a Roz is? Sod, right, the secrets. Like when Am Yisrael said Nasa v'nishma, so the Malachim said, they were makdim Nasa v'nishma, that's how the Malachim behave, that they have to do before hearing, before understanding. Mi gila lebonai roz. Roz is a side. The side is the oyer ha'emes, the light of truth. Which, like we said before, Hashem was going as it bebeis ginzav, tzadikim lasalavai. So the Zohar makes a gematria. If you take the word roz and you take the word oyer is aleph vav. Aleph vav makes which letter? The gematria zayin, and then you have reish. So it's roz. Roz and Oyer. The Oyer ha'emes, the Oyer of truth is a Roz, it's a secret. Shabbos is Mizgala. Now, if you take the word Zochor, it's very interesting. You have the Zayin and the Reish, that's Roz, or the Oyer. In the middle you have Chavav, which is the Gematria, Kevav, Keavai. So it's Oyer Hashem. It's Chira Zochor, we have Zochor, the Oyer Hashem, the light of Hashem. To be Zeicher, and on the other hand, so if you ashmashkiach olam hazeh, which olam hazeh is itself, you know, there's a chazal. Let's go with chazal. There's a pasuk in Bochi Nafshi. Toshes choshech v'hi loylo. Hashem said, "Let there come darkness and there'll be night." What's night? This world is called darkness. Because the Yetzer Hara is shoyleit. In the darkness, you think a man is a pillar, and you think a pillar is a man. The darkness of this world, the person can't see the truth. He's confused. This world is called chayshich. In order to get to the light of truth, you got to forget the darkness of this world on Shabbos. The shomer is the shochayach from this world, from the Elam Hazeh. So let's go. Chayshich is Isius shochach. If you are shocheach the choshech of this world, you'll get to the zocha of the Or Hashem on Shabbos. You'll get to the matana taiva beis ginzai, and that's the amkis of zocha v'shoma v'dibur echod. According to your madrega, your possibility to be mekayim shomor b'shleimus. Shomer means to be shomer yourself from the involvement with Olam Hazeh, whether in action, whether in deed, word, or thought. That's shomer in different madregas. According to the madrega of the shomer, you'll get Hashem will megali you the zocha to be able to be dabuk, to attach yourself to the or of truth. As the amount that you can separate yourself from the chayshech of the darkness of this world, you can absorb into yourself something of the light of truth, which the neshama is shaykh to, and not the goof. That's what it says in the Zohar, that the Shabbos is Yuma the Nishmasim, it's a day of the neshama. In other words, it's a time where there's a school, and perhaps that's the meaning of the neshama yisay, or the extra neshama on Shabbos. It's a time that a person can extend his ideas, he can transcend the limitational thinking of the boundaries of the body and the needs of the body. It's paradoxically, why do we have, it's not paradoxically, why can Oineg Haguf on Shabbos be a mitzvah? Because of the Kedusha of Shabbos makes it that the person can transform this bodily act because of it. It's the Or HaNeshama is extra, so he can transform this bodily act to be a spiritual act. You can have the Kavon L'Shem Shemayim, the Schus Kedusha Shabbos. That's why the Oineg Haguf in the week, which is an opposite pula, an opposite act of ruchnius. On Shabbos, even the Einig HaGuf can be called Kedusha, can be called something which doesn't contradict the spirituality. Because Shabbos is Yuma the Nishmas, and it's a day of the Neshama. You with me in this? So that's the meaning of Zocha, Neshama, that's Kedusha Shabbos. One has to know, Shabbos, there's a special Siyata D'Shmaya, a special aid from heaven for the person to transcend beyond the mask of the physical body that makes him think only in material terms, to see himself in the finite boundaries of this world. Shabbos, he can that's Shabbos me'ein olam haba, that he can see himself as a spiritual being beyond the limitations of the guf, and that the person has a future beyond this world, and this world is only asking, like it says in Chazal, how does a person have to look at this world? Haskein atzmacha b'proizda, prepare yourself in the hallway, in order that you should, when it comes the time, you should be ready to enter the Reishit Ikonis Betraklin. You should be able to enter the palace of Olam Haba. Shabbos, we move out of the hallway into the palace. We're reminded to think in terms of the palace. The whole week we have to think that we're in the hallway and have to serve Hashem, to prepare ourselves for the palace. And on Shabbos we have to feel something of the palace. That's the Zocha, and the way to do it is according to the amount of Shoma, so we will be Zocha to Zocha. That's Zocha b'Shoma b'Dibur Echad, and that's Vasisa Kol Malachtecha. And so Hashem says, B'schus, it could be Bemet, B'schus, that a person is Mekayim this, it's B'yad Hashem to Bemet help him that all his Malacha should be completed. If he's Mekayim this mitzvah on Shabbos that he parts from Kol HaMalacha, it could be that the Emet, it will help him to give him a schus to complete all his things by keeping this mitzvah. So we spoke about Shabbos. Now, you can say like this. There's two things. We have two mitzvahs, which are, so we spoke about Shabbos being Me'ein Olam Haba. There are two mitzvahs which are Me'ein Olam Haba. Shabbos is made on, what is the second mitzvah which is Me'ein Olam Haba? You know what it is? Learning Torah. Torah is Me'ein Olam Haba. Where do we see this? Let me bring you an example of a halacha which expresses this idea. The Gemara says, Kol v'zaynoisav shel Adam tzuvim by Rosh Hashanah ad Yom Kippur. Hashem decrees between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur the parnasa of a person, what he will merit in physical possessions, parnasa, physical possessions, rechush, properties, how much he'll have of Olam Hazeh. This is the creed between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Chutz, but there are two things which are not the creed between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's not in the cheshbon. What are those two things? Haitzos Shabbos v'Yontif, what he spends in honor of Shabbos and Yontif. What's Nachlas Yaakov? That in the bracha of Yaakov it says, Uparatzto, the pirates, Yoma v'Keibot Safayda v'Negva. That's called Nachla Beli, without boundaries, no boundaries. It doesn't say Eretz Yisrael. Uparatzto. This is without boundaries. It's in Ma'aneg es HaShabbos. He's Zeicha to a Nachla Beli Mitzvah, without boundaries. So Shabbos is without boundaries because it's Mein Olam Haba. Mein Olam Haba is without boundaries. Yaakov Avinu, his whole essence was with Mein Olam Haba. No boundaries. Where do we see that? Yaakov Avinu lo met. He didn't die. Whatever it means. But Yaakov represents without boundaries. Nachla b'li mitzvah. So Shabbos, Haitzah Shabbos, Ein Kitzvah. What else? Torah. Torah is also without boundaries. It says that the Oroin in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Kodesh Kodshim, was a constant miracle. It says, because it says in the Pasuk of Malachim, the width of the Kodesh Kodshim was 20 amos. from the Aron, and then it says one wing of the Kruvim was 10 amas to the north, and the other wing of the Kruv to the south was 10 amas. 10 and 10 is 20, but the whole width is 20. So, and the Kruvim weren't one touching the other. There were two Kruvim, one at one end of the Aron, one at the other end of it. Ask the Gemara, V'Aron gufa heicha v'koi. Where was the Aron? Aron b'nes haya omed. The Aron was oimen in a nes. Ha'aron einoi min amida. It didn't. This is a Gemara Megillah Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis. The Aron did not take up any space. So what does it mean? It didn't have boundaries. It was beyond. And that's what's written in Sefer Mishlei about the Torah. Arucha me'eretz mida rechava min hayam. The Torah doesn't have boundaries. It's me'ein olam haba. It doesn't have a kitzvah. So in the same way, the hatzlocha from Torah, when a person goes into the Beis Medrash to learn, like there's a din on Shabbos to be shechayach me'olam hazeh, according to the Shir Shab, Torah is also zocha, is also mitzvah zocha. You have a pasuk, zichru teiris boisha abdi. Remember the Torah. The Torah is matzav zocha. And also, zocha v'zocha, according to the amount that a person, when he learns Torah, he's mashkiach himself. He goes out of the chayshich Torah or of the chayshich of Olam Hazeh, he can mashkiach himself. And now he's in Olam Haba when he's learning Torah, so he'll be zeicha to zocha of the Torah. Torah and Shabbos, they go hand in hand together. And they're both called bris. Bris Shabbos is called bris Olam, and Torah is called Imroi Brisi, Yoimam V'Layla, Chukay Shemayim V'Oretz Leisamti. Torah is also a bris. These two brisim, because bris means kesher with the Rebbeinu Shalom, whereas Dveikis Vashem, one gets the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Ein Sof, without midah. So we spoke about Shabbos being Me'ein Olam Haba, and Torah being Me'ein Olam Haba. And this concept has a practical application in the halacha that Ein Mezainos, the Mezainos of Tzuvloi. There's no kitzvah on Mezainos on for Torah, and there's no kitzvah Mezainos for Shabbos. And because of this, that because it represents the dveikis and the oyer, a dveikis and attachment to the light of Ein Sof. It's Me'ein Olam Haba. But to be koyim this time of Olam Haba, one has to enter the Torah, one has to enter the Shabbos. And the way to enter the Torah and to enter the Shabbos, one sits in front of the Sefer, one has to get this Olam Hazeh. One goes into the Shabbos, Ki'ilu kol basisa kol melachtecha, Ki'ilu kol melachtecha asuya. So we spoke today two subjects. This first subject was the application, we'll put it in English, the behaviorist theory. That's the menash shmua shoma ubo, to make an action of the Seirus. It's not enough to learn Musa, one has to make an action to acquire the Musa. The second concept is the concept of Olam Haba versus Olam Hazeh, a world without an infinite world versus a finite world, and the way to enter it is by putting oneself in a state of forgetting this world in certain, when one's in front of the Sefer, one is in Shabbos, should be shechayach from the chayshich of Olam Hazeh in order to get the zocha, Oisius, Roz Hashem, Soid Hashem, the Or Hashem.
How can you do that if you're eating?